黑金羽球图，美国与伊朗的444天。
Black gold and captives. 444 days of US and Iran. In early 1979, the Islamic Revolution erupted in Iran, forcing the US-backed Shah into exile. 1979
年初，伊朗爆发伊斯兰革命，原本受美国扶持的巴列维国王被迫流亡。
In early 1979, the Islamic Revolution erupted in Iran, forcing the US-backed Shah into exile. Shia leader Ayatollah Khamenei returned from years of exile to establish a theocratic Islamic Republic.
什叶派领袖霍梅尼结束多年流亡回国，建立了政教合一的伊斯兰共和国。
Shia leader Ayatollah Khamenei returned from years of exile to establish a theocratic Islamic Republic. In October of that year, President Carter allowed the cancer-stricken Shah to enter the U.S. for medical treatment on humanitarian grounds.
同年10月，美国总统卡特基于人道考量，允许身患癌症的国王赴美治疗。
In October of that year, President Carter allowed the cancer-stricken Shah to enter the U.S. for medical treatment on humanitarian grounds. This move sparked intense fury in Iran, filling the streets of Tehran with chants of "Down with America."
此举在伊朗引发强烈激愤，德黑兰街头充满了打倒美国的呐喊声。
This move sparked intense fury in Iran, filling the streets of Tehran with chants of "Down with America." On the 4th of November, hundreds of self-proclaimed revolutionary students stormed the walls of the U.S. Embassy in Tehran. 11
月4日，数百名自称学生的革命者冲破了美国驻德黑兰大使馆的围墙。
On the 4th of November, hundreds of self-proclaimed revolutionary students stormed the walls of the U.S. Embassy in Tehran. They initially planned a protest of only a few hours, but it unexpectedly turned into a 444-day captivity.
他们原本计划只占领几小时，没想到最终演变成长达444天的囚禁。
They initially planned a protest of only a few hours, but it unexpectedly turned into a 444-day captivity. 52 American diplomats and citizens became hostages, paraded before TV cameras with black blindfolds. 52
名美国外交官与公民成为人质，双眼被蒙上黑布，在电视镜头前示众。
52 American diplomats and citizens became hostages, paraded before TV cameras with black blindfolds. The Tehran embassy was branded a den of spies, and Iranian students claimed to have uncovered massive amounts of U.S. intelligence.
德黑兰使馆被称为间谍窝。伊朗学生宣称搜出了大量美方的情资。
The Tehran embassy was branded a den of spies, and Iranian students claimed to have uncovered massive amounts of U.S. intelligence. Americans saw images on TV of burning star-spangled banners and charred portraits of President Carter.
美国人在电视上看到的是燃烧的星条旗与被焚毁的卡特总统画像。
Americans saw images on TV of burning star-spangled banners and charred portraits of President Carter. The Carter administration attempted to mediate through diplomatic channels, but the Khamenei regime remained defiant and refused to negotiate.
卡特政府试图透过外交途径斡旋，但霍梅尼政权态度强硬，拒绝谈判。
The Carter administration attempted to mediate through diplomatic channels, but the Khamenei regime remained defiant and refused to negotiate. Affected by the revolution and unrest, Iran's oil production plummeted from its peak to near total stoppage.
受革命与动乱影响，伊朗石油产量迅速从高峰跌落至停产边缘。
Affected by the revolution and unrest, Iran's oil production plummeted from its peak to near total stoppage. Although Saudi Arabia tried to increase production to compensate, market panic had spiraled out of control.
虽然沙烏地阿拉伯试图增产补偿，但市场的恐慌情绪已完全失控。
Although Saudi Arabia tried to increase production to compensate, market panic had spiraled out of control. Global oil prices skyrocketed from around $13 to nearly $40 per barrel within a year, an astounding increase.
全球油价在1年内从每桶13美元左右飙升至近40美元，涨幅极其惊人。
Global oil prices skyrocketed from around $13 to nearly $40 per barrel within a year, an astounding increase. Kilometers long lines appeared at U.S. gas stations, and gasoline became a precious, rationed commodity.
美国街头加油站出现了绵延数公里的车阵，汽油成为极其珍贵的配给品。
Kilometers long lines appeared at U.S. gas stations, and gasoline became a precious, rationed commodity. Severe inflation spread through the Western world, leading to the coexistence of economic stagnation and rising prices.
严重的通货膨胀在西方世界蔓延，经济停滞与物价上涨同时并存。
Severe inflation spread through the Western world, leading to the coexistence of economic stagnation and rising prices. During the crisis, 6 Americans managed to escape the embassy and found sanctuary under the protection of the Canadian embassy.
危机期间，有6名美国人意外逃出使馆，躲藏在加拿大使馆的庇护下。
During the crisis, 6 Americans managed to escape the embassy and found sanctuary under the protection of the Canadian embassy. The CIA then orchestrated the famous Operation Argo, extracting the 6 by posing as a movie production crew.
随后，策划了著名的雅果行动，伪装成电影剧组将这6人救回。
The CIA then orchestrated the famous Operation Argo, extracting the 6 by posing as a movie production crew. However, the majority of hostages remained trapped, and President Carter's approval ratings steadily declined as the crisis dragged on.
但大多数人质仍受困其中。卡特总统的民调随着危机持续而不断下滑。
However, the majority of hostages remained trapped, and President Carter's approval ratings steadily declined as the crisis dragged on. In April 1980, the U.S. military launched Operation Eagle Claw, an attempt to rescue the hostages using special forces.
1980年4月，美军执行鹰爪行动，试图以特种部队强行营救人质。
In April 1980, the U.S. military launched Operation Eagle Claw, an attempt to rescue the hostages using special forces. Yet, in the Iranian desert, a sudden sandstorm caused a collision between a U.S. helicopter and a transport aircraft.
然而，在伊朗沙漠中，一场突如其来的沙尘暴导致美军直升机与运输机相撞。
Yet, in the Iranian desert, a sudden sandstorm caused a collision between a U.S. helicopter and a transport aircraft. The disastrous failure left 8 U.S. service members dead, and the Carter administration's credibility hit an all-time low.
行动惨败造成8名美军殉职，卡特政府的威信在这一刻降至了冰点。
The disastrous failure left 8 U.S. service members dead, and the Carter administration's credibility hit an all-time low. In September 1980, Saddam Hussein's Iraqi regime seized the opportunity to invade Iran, sparking the Iran-Iraq War 1980.
年9月，伊拉克萨达姆政权趁火打劫入侵伊朗，两伊战争爆发。
In September 1980, Saddam Hussein's Iraqi regime seized the opportunity to invade Iran, sparking the Iran-Iraq War. The pressure of war made Iran desperate for funds and supplies, leading them to consider resolving the hostage crisis to lift sanctions.
战争的压力让伊朗急需资金与物资，开始考虑解决人质问题以解除制裁。
The pressure of war made Iran desperate for funds and supplies, leading them to consider resolving the hostage crisis to lift sanctions. Iran demanded the unfreezing of its seized overseas assets and a U.S. promise to never interfere in its internal affairs again.
伊朗要求美国解冻被扣押的海外资产，并承诺未来不再干涉其内政。
Iran demanded the unfreezing of its seized overseas assets and a U.S. promise to never interfere in its internal affairs again. Through Algerian mediation, the two sides finally reached a release agreement in January 1981.
在阿尔及利亚的斡旋下，双方终于在1981年1月达成了释放协议。
Through Algerian mediation, the two sides finally reached a release agreement in January 1981. The Iranians intentionally waited until the moment President Reagan was sworn in to allow the hostage plane to take off.
伊朗人特意等待雷根总统宣誓就职的那一刻，才准许人质飞机起飞。
The Iranians intentionally waited until the moment President Reagan was sworn in to allow the hostage plane to take off. On the 20th of January, the Americans held for 444 days finally regained their freedom and began their journey home.
1月20日，这群受困444天的美国人终于重获自由，踏上归乡之路。
On the 20th of January, the Americans held for 444 days finally regained their freedom and began their journey home. The crisis directly led to Carter's re-election defeat, while Reagan ushered in a new era with his tough image.
这次危机直接导致了卡特连任失败，雷根则以强硬形象开启了新时代。
The crisis directly led to Carter's re-election defeat, while Reagan ushered in a new era with his tough image. U.S.-Iran diplomatic relations were severed thereafter and the former embassy is now the Museum of Anti-Arrogance.
美伊外交关系自此彻底断绝，曾经的大使馆现已成为反傲慢博物馆。
U.S.-Iran diplomatic relations were severed thereafter and the former embassy is now the Museum of Anti-Arrogance. This confrontation of black gold and captives remains a deep, unhealed scar in the hearts of both nations today.
这场黑金与囚徒的交锋，至今仍是美伊两国心中难以愈合的伤痕。
This confrontation of black gold and captives remains a deep, unhealed scar in the hearts of both nations today.
The oil burned deep into the western night while shadows stretched across the desert sand. Long lines of steel, heavy-hearted sigh. The clocks had stopped within a distant land. Oh, but dawn